It's now 6:30, so that's it's starting time, and the people at home can see us. Let's start out with invocation. Jeremy?
I would love to. Before we do the prayer, can everyone stand and join me in a moment of silence as we remember the men and women who've given the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Thank you for that. And now in prayer, dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, that we live in a community that supports prayer, Lord. Thank you that we get to come together and continue to make Canyon Lake a better place to live day in and day out. Be with all of our elected leaders, Lord, whether it's at the local level, county, state. Be with everyone, Lord. Make sure that we're working together and doing all we can to honor you, and keep making Canyon Lake just an amazing place to call home. And in your name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Mayor Pro Tem, can you lead the pledge?
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Matt, would you like to go ahead and do the roll call?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Castillo? Here. Councilmember Dane? Here. Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Here.
Mayor Welty?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, we'll go on to closed session report.
Yes, Mayor. The only reportable action out of closed session is the City Council, by a vote of 5-0, appointed Aaron Brown as the interim city manager for the City of Canyon Lake, effective tomorrow.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Aaron on up so we can all see what we did today. This is what we we want to thank you for stepping up and coming aboard. I know you're going to start tomorrow, so we're just so excited to have you, and thank you for stepping on up.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much for this opportunity. I really think it's right place, right time. I think the city staff and I are going to be a great team to be able to do the things that the great residents of Canyon Lake are looking forward to. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to the challenges.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to ceremonial manners, and we're going to have Citizen of the Month. We're going to bring up Leslie Vecchione. Is that how you say?
Oh, you did very well.
Come on up.
Over here?
Let me read come on up to there.
Okay.
We're not letting you go without pictures, by the way. So
That's fine.
That's good. Leslie moved to Canyon Lake in 1993. She's a 30-plus year here.
Yep.
The day she moved in, she audited for the Canyon Lake Community Theater production of Wizard of the Oz and was cast as the Wicked Witch. She has been a member of the Canyon Lake Community Theater ever since, and has had the privilege of working with both adults and children to refine their performing abilities and grow as artists, and grow as people. Over the years, Canyon Lake children have performed such shows as Wizard of Oz, Sound of Music, Peter Pan, Annie, Aladdin, Annie Get Your Gun, Your Good Man Charlie Brown, to just name a few. There's obviously a very long list. The skills learned here in Canyon Lake reinforce Leslie's skills as a theater educator for Lake Elsinore Unified School District for 27-plus years. Wow. Influencing the young lives and being supported by the community has truly been the highlight of her life. Leslie is in touch with many young artists who have grown up, and she continues to share a bond with them. This is a little bit of paradise that has enabled opportunity for growth, success, and personal achievement.
Thank you. Do I get to say anything?
Absolutely.
I'm going to start with just a quick story. There was a terrible storm, and it was the morning on the beach, and this little boy goes out onto the beach, and there are thousands of starfish on the beach, thousands of them. And he's picking them up one at a time and throwing them back in the water. And he spends a long time doing this, and this older man comes up to him and he says, "What are you doing?" He says, "There are thousands of starfish on this beach. You're never going to get them all in the water. You're never going to save them all." And he picks one up and he goes, "Made a difference to this one." And he threw it in the water. I feel the same way. You have made that kind of difference to me. And my philosophy of life is, people live their entire life wanting to make a difference. And I feel because of you and the city of Canyon Lake, I've done that. You know, I've touched young lives, older performers that want to participate. And when somebody comes to audition for one of our shows, we make every effort to take everybody. You know, we don't eliminate people, because if they want to perform and they want to be a part of the group, we work with that and they get the training they want. And we really and truly are a family. And, you know, things like that filter down from the top. So I really do have you people to thank. It's a wonderful community. I'm one of the ones that lives on Longhorn, being repaved right now. And we live towards the campground site, so there's like no other streets to park on. And, you know, I was amazed that all the neighbors like got together. They said, okay, when they do our side, all of you guys can park here. I mean, everybody like shared their parking. And it was like, this is what community is about. People looking out for one another and being supportive and fostering young talent and just appreciating each other. And in this kind of a world that we face today, it's rare. So please, I thank you. I mean, you're honoring me, but I feel like I need to be honoring you.
Well, you can't sit down yet, because
Okay.
we still just I saw an interview on a CEO on one of the news channels, and he was asked, well, what's one of the skills that you learned in college that you use every day? And he says, oh, my theater skills, because as a CCO, you're always presenting, you're always reaching out, you're always communicating, and the skills that you learn on the stage are ones that carry with you into your daily life, are very, very important and critical. And the number of lives you've changed has just had to be amazing, and I just want to say, to be dedicated to an art for 30 years is pretty overwhelming and pretty amazing. I just have to thank you for each one of those hundreds of kids that you made
I'm afraid
better.
I love them just as much as they love me. You know, that's what makes it work. And I appreciate you as well. So thank you.
Let's go get some pictures. Oh, I need the.
Wow, that's new.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, look at me. Nice. I've got one more device.
I got Mark, Councilmember Terry's phone.
You want to visit? If you'd like, you can hold it up in the next picture.
It's not that I don't want JDIs. They might really want that.
Come by my desk.
Did you get enough? Okay.
Oh, yours was front and center, that's right, right? Went front and center.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's truly an honor.
I love it. What a good choice, Bill.
All right. Moving on to the Student of the Month. I have them working here for me.
All right, I'm going to bring up Sawyer Lanouette. Please come up. Sawyer is our February Student of the Month. She couldn't be here last month, so we're honoring her for her achievement in February. She's a graduating senior from Temescal Canyon. Just a couple things about her, and then I'm going to let her talk. Did you know you were going to have to talk? It'll be easy. She is senior class president, 2-time captain of the varsity sideline and competitive cheer team, 4-year varsity stunt athlete, NHS vice president, and member of the California Scholarship Federation. She loves to read, listen to music, and hang out with family and friends. And I don't know if this has been already updated, but I'm going to let you say, what are your plans for your next step, college, and what you're going to do?
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here today. My plans for college, I'm deciding right now between either University of California, San Diego or University of California, Santa Barbara, both amazing schools. And I plan to major in communications, so then that way I can pursue a career as a public relations specialist.
All right. Well, And as always, our Student of the Month ceremonies, I love and I'm honored that I get to be a part of that. So I love seeing all of our next generation of youth that are coming up and doing amazing things. So congratulations to Sawyer. And we're going to all take a picture? Yep. Congratulations. This is for you too. Oh, thank you.
Sawyer, what's your favorite restaurant? You don't know? I think your mom's gonna take you there tonight.
Let's see, I'll go slide over here. No, you're good. You have a problem. Wherever you go, we're all going to move to there.
You ready? Don't blink.
One more device. Thank you guys for your patience.
Well, you got sticky notes down here now. This is phenomenal. Good. Very good. Congratulations. Very cool.
Awesome.
We got a couple more because I'm excited about tonight because we're talking about people that have changed lives of the children in our community and have done it for a very long time. We just had someone 20, 29, 30 years of working with our kids. Incredible. So we're going to bring up another couple of, I can't help but call you kids because, now I knew you were kids. If Katie and Carla, you want to come on up? Okay. Carla and Katie are owners of JDI, and they grew up in Canyon Lake. They've been here for 29 years. They believe dance makes a difference in a child's life, and it is healthy for the children in the community to enjoy physical activity, make friends, and have a happy place that they can call their second home. JDI offers classes for ages 18 months to 18 years old. They have 925 dancers for season 18, 6 dance rooms, waiting area with viewing rooms, and a break room with a kitchen area. They have award-winning competition program, and dancers travel and compete in 4 regions and at the Las Vegas Nationals each year. JDI has been awarded the top studio yearly since 2014, and our dancers hold numerous first-place overall titles. Wow, where I'm amazed. JDI instructors are mentors who have dedicated themselves to inspire and uplift every children they teach. And at JDI, we believe that we are blessed with the best team and whose passion and expertise create nurturing environments for our dancers to excel and flourish. So, wow, great. You know, I always used to think that the Little League had the most kids. As far as the home programs, I drove by the Little League kids at opening day, and you see, these hundreds of kids lined up, and I feel like I'm looking at the Giants now with 925 dancers. And a couple of my grandchildren and children have been in your group, and of course, I've known you guys for forever. So, anyway, thank you. So, you want to tell us what you're doing? Maybe a little bit on yours.
So we have 925 students. When we opened our doors 19 years ago, we had 30, and we never knew this was the plan God had for us. So we're truly blessed with the best community. We are so big on no matter how many kids God sends our way, that every single one feels special, seen, valued, and heard, and they're not just another number. So we have a great team that believes in all the same stuff as us, and we just keep thanking God for what he's blessed us with and this incredible community we get to be a part of. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
You guys can orientate in the middle, and we'll all gather around you.
Congratulations, thank you.
I'm down.
To the king.
I'm down.
I have one more. I know this is taking a little time, but the people we've had come up tonight are, in my mind, just superheroes with our children. Done an amazing job. Last but not least, we're going to recognize Pat Kimball. I think about almost everyone in the community knows Pat. Pat Kimball is Canyon Lake's director of golf. He grew up in the small town of northeast of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Pat, you can come on up. He was a member of the Canadian PGA, winning in 1988 and 1999 Provincial of Manitoba Assistant PGA Championships. And in 1988, 1992, and 1994, he won the PGA Provisional Championship. He was named the Manitoba PGA Player of the Year 5 times. This is incredible. This next one. In 2006, Four Magazine awarded Pat with the recognition as the best PGA pro in Southern California. And in 2018, he was again recognized as the SPAG Inland Empire Teacher of the Year. And in 2006, he was recognized with the Bill Strasberg Award winner from the Inland Empire Southern California PGA. Pat's done an amazing job. Pat, how long have you been at, come on up here. How long have you been at this? How long have you been here in Canyon Lake?
13 years now in Canyon Lake.
13 years?
Yes.
Some of your kids have gone on to pros? Or?
Some have gone through college, yes, not to pros yet,
Not to pros,
but college, they've been full scholarships in college and so on, so very good, yes.
So you're going to be busy this summer, right?
Yes, our junior golf academy, I'll turn this way, sorry, I don't want to turn my back to everybody here, but yes, we do run the junior golf academy and our junior golf camp every year, and each year it gets bigger and bigger, and we've had, unfortunately, to put a little bit of a limit on it because just for space reasons is what it is. We get up to about 165 kids every year that come to our junior camp, and that's in July. And for those of you who want to bring your children or grandchildren, please bring them along. That's July 25th to the 29th this year. We also run a year-long junior golf academy that touches a bunch of kids as throughout every month, and it's with the great team that I have at the golf club that we're able to touch all of these young junior golfers. We also run ladies clinics and so on as well, so we're really starting to touch the community of Canyon Lake with all of that. But I couldn't do it without the great team that I do have at the golf course and have had over the last 13 years that I've been here, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of this community and to feel welcomed in this community all the time by all of you. I know many of you from teaching and also just personally, but it's been a wonderful time here at the community, and I look forward to the next 5 years that we'll be here.
Pat also works with the clubs. We have the men's club, the Canyon Lakes Men's Club, Canyon Lakes Women's Club. We have the 49ers, and we have the Niners and the family the club. 49ers, I'm sorry. I thought we were in football for a minute. So that's great, and these clubs step up with the kids too. So it's not only does the staff step up, the clubs step up and assist. I remember the men's club always kind of helped put on the lunch and the raffles and all sorts of things. So Pat's brought the whole golf community in to work together to benefit our children, and I think he's done an amazing job. 13 years, and I hope he has 13 more. I'll see you in 10 more years. We'll bring you back up, but we'll talk about your 23rd. So thank you. You don't get away easy. You got to come back when we get to get a picture.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
So that's an exciting time in the community. We have some people that have gone out and you know, these guys haven't put in a couple hours, they've put in a couple of years. So all the work they've done has made a big difference in the lives of our children, and I just can't say how much I appreciate what you're doing. Okay, moving on to community reports. We're going to go with Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, General Manager Greg Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor and council members and staff, and what a kind of hard act to follow with all the awards, and it's really nice to see that as the community and recognizing the folks in the community, so it's nice. So, and of course, Darcy Burke is in DC this week, so she does thank you for all your support, and I'll pinch hit for her on, I don't know if I have the beauty or the outgoingness of Darcy, but I'll try. So, as far as water supplies, you know, we're just finishing up, or you don't know, but we're finishing up technically our water year, ends 1 April. And of course, we had some nice rains last week and the dam was spilling. So filling up Lake Elsinore. Lake Elsinore is almost at 1250 elevation, and that's one of the highest it's been since 2010-ish. So that's significant. And of course, as you know, your lake is pretty full and will remain full. So statewide, we're about 116% of normal statewide water, and all our reservoirs are pretty well full across the state, which is a great thing for us. Colorado River is about 113% of normal for this is the snowpack, but as we know, Lake Mead and Lake Powell are still continuously to be stressed. But what this all means for us is Metropolitan is our major wholesaler in Southern California, and they have enough water for the next several years. So we should technically, hopefully, come out of the drought if the governor will release the emergency hold that he has on us for that. So we are working with his office to see if he can release the emergency that he has so we can go back to some normal thing. However, as we always do, we encourage water use efficiency. Met yesterday, approved some new rates, and excuse me, that will affect us down here because we buy about 65% of our water is imported right now, especially with Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant offline. So we're looking at about a 20% increase in our treated water rates over the next 2 years. So I don't have the exact dollar value right now because it just got published. There were some last minute changes to how they were, what the board adopted, so we'll come back out with that. And then I know Darcy will be giving you all updates in that, so we do anticipate. And their water rates take effect in January, so we won't really see the full effect because theirs take effect in January, where our normal water year, our fiscal years are July. So we've kind of accommodated for some of that. As far as Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant, it's 90% design right now. We plan to go out for a bid in September once we finalize some of that and getting our permits and those aspects. We plan to award hopefully by the end of December, if not January of 2025. It's about a 3-year construction time, bringing it online December of 2027 and fully operational by March of 2028. And our plan is to run that year-round, and it'll produce about 7 million gallons a day is our plan with the plant. So again, that will reduce our needs for imported water, and that will actually lower our cost because it's cheaper to have our own local sources, whether it's our wells or even our Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant. So a big aspect of that is the PFAS. That's all been in the news. In fact, today, the EPA just published their new regulations for the whole family of PFAS. That's the whole Teflon, the whole, Scotch guarding, that whole thing, the forever chemicals, as they call it. So they lowered the standard for 2 of those to 4 parts per trillion. That's basically, think of 10 Olympic-sized swimming pools, 4 drops of something in that amount. So that's what a parts per trillion stands for. So it gives you kind of a visual how let's say the regulations are pretty restrictive in that regards. So we are designing our plant, Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant, for the PFAS because we know Canyon Lake is the only surface water body right now in the state that has PFAS that exceeds the state and federal limits. So the other thing is capacity fees. The board will be taking action in the next couple months on capacity fees. Capacity fees pay for growth. That's what we charge for new development, Prop 47. So as we're expanding the regional recycled water plant, as we build facilities, et cetera, to accommodate growth. We're only about 35% built out within the entire Elsinore Valley region. I know Canyon Lake is pretty well built out with infill in there. I know there potentially could be some development, and I know we've talked previously, we have the former city manager on that. But basically, it says capacity fees pay for growth. So we're looking at about $1 billion worth of projects to accommodate growth. Again, we're only 35% built out. We're anticipating 60% increase over the next 25 years in our population for the region, and then about 75% increase in water demands over that. So that's new wells, that's future indirect potable reuse. So when we take the recycled water from the water reclamation facility, we plan to put that in the ground, and then we draw that out through our wells. So those are some of the things. So we're working with the building BIA related to that. We're having a workshop on April 23rd with the developers in BIA. We've already been in communication with them. We've kind of let them know, but we invite anybody who wants to attend on April 23rd for that workshop. I know the city's been involved. We've had our master plans. This is all based off our master plans, so we get a lot of the information from the developers, the cities, what you're all projecting for growth, whether it's Lake Elsinore, Wildemar, the county. And so we've already incorporated in our master plans to accommodate that growth, because we want to make sure there is a water supply for the current residents and the future residents. So those are going to happen. So the plan right now is to implement basically a CPI increase 1 July to our capacity fees of about 9.7%. 1 January, there'll be about a 40 to 45% increase in the water and sewer capacity fees. And the board will take action on that in the next couple of months. And we're trying to work with the developers so that we can phase this in, so we don't just hit them right in 1 July with this 45% increase. We're giving them a little more time. Plus, our policy is you have 6 months. So if a developer comes in, says, hey, I'm going to build this house, we're saying, okay, these would be your fees. You have 6 months to finish that before you get the meter. So it gives them actually almost a year before the full effect of the fees go in. So we're trying to work with everybody in that regards. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I may. You brought it up, capacity fees, so let's have some fun. Can you please describe to my colleagues exactly dollar for amount what we're looking at to build a home in Menifee now from what it was before and what is being proposed now? Do you have that number?
oh, for our capacity?
Yeah.
For a meter?
Yeah.
Our water? Yeah, we do have that number.
By the way, Darcy's giving me permission to drill you, so this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 minutes. As she's texting me from DC,
Yeah,
so this
yeah.
is where it's coming
No,
from. So just hang on.
I know she can't text you right now. She's in bed. It's about 16,000 currently for a water meter, and this is based on a residential
Right.
meter, and about 9,300 for sewer connection. With the CPI, basically the ENR increase, it'll go up $1,400 on the water to $17,300, and about $900 on the sewer to $10,200. And then we're looking at, for January, about a $6,800 increase to $24,000 for our water meter, and about $15,000, about $4,700 increase for sewer connection.
Insane. Crazy. Are you working with Lou over at BIA?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
In fact, we've met with...
Lou's a sharp guy.
Yeah, he is. We've met with him several times. He had his board meeting last week. We
Yep.
gave him all this information. He had his board meeting. The workshop on the 23rd is really designed to work with their developers. And the developers know a lot of this. We already met with a lot of them I met with a couple of them last week. We were at an event, chatted with them about it too. So, it's the cost of everything. And
Right.
just for example, our regional water reclamation facility was originally planned for about $115 million. By the time we got to this point, it's $250 million. So you've seen almost a 100% increase in those costs, and they're dealing with the same thing. So our board understands that, and that's why we're trying to really phase it out over a year process.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
And Greg, you'll be able to keep our lake fairly full during this new plant operation?
That's our plan.
That's the plan? I mean,
Well,
you and God working together will make that happen?
we're trying.
We're
So-
trying.
So you want it full, somebody else wants it lower, so we'll,
I think if we voted across here, it'd probably, we'd all go full, so.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, we appreciate that, so.
I did want to end on a good note. We had our Splash in the Spring, March 23rd. I want to thank the fire department for coming out and participating in that. That was awesome. And we got invited to the May 11th fire department event, so we're going to have some folks there. So we really love the camaraderie and working together related to that. And we did do a poster contest, the young kids out of the LEUSD school system. They did it on water. That was last board meeting. And tomorrow's board meeting at 4 o'clock, we're doing a poster contest. So all the kids who did posters related to water. So you can zoom into our meeting. That would be one of the first things. So it's really great to engage with the students. It's one of our highlights. So, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Come back again.
Will do.
All right, our next community report will be from Canyon Lake Properties Owners Association, Board Treasurer Alex Cook.
Hi, guys. It's been a while since I've been here. Because there was a Meet the Candidates Forum tonight, I am the lucky soul that get to come here and give you guys kind of an update. So I want to thank you, the Mayor Welty, and the City Council and staff for this opportunity. I feel pretty humbled seeing all these people that were here recognized today that have, shaped our youth in this community. So it's pretty cool considering I was thinking about it. My daughter went to JDI and she's 22 and I think she was 3 or 4 years old at the time. So pretty incredible. And then right back here to Sawyer, which my daughter was also the cheer captain at Temescal for 3 years, varsity cheer captain. So there was kind of rewarding. I'm super happy I was here tonight. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is, we have an election. It's election time for us. I know it doesn't feel like it because there's not signs in the streets, which we're all happy about. But it's still important people vote. There's 2 people running for 2 spots, but there's important amendments that are on the ballot, and we still need to try to hit quorum. So very important. If we don't hit quorum, it costs more money for the community to come back and to do the election, 2 days later and do the same thing over and over again. So super important that everybody cast a vote. Whatever you want to vote for, vote, but the vote needs to begin in. I also want to say welcome, Aaron Brown, to our little bit of paradise. Congratulations. Super excited to have that. The city of Rialto will miss you. So the last thing, didn't have a lot to talk about. Last night's board meeting was very small. We didn't have a lot to talk about, so I didn't want to come in and talk about, finances and things like that. I don't think it was really important to talk about that. But one thing I want to point out is summer is here. We're getting a little taste of summer today and tomorrow. Canyon Lake Pool is open. It was very crowded today. A lot of people out, but be aware the pool's heated, so if anybody wants to get out there and get out, they can do it even on a rainy day Saturday. Feel free to get out. I'm sure I'm missing something here that I want to talk about, but I'll let you hit me up with some questions if you guys have any questions.
Any questions?
Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Always.
You want to say thanks to the POA? The number of activities you run this summer is going to be, as always, amazing. You've got swimming lessons, you got golf lessons, you got tennis lessons, you got pickleball lessons, you got a fishing event. The list is endless, and the support of the POA for all that has just been great over the years, and I think that's one of our core reasons everybody likes to live here is the opportunity the POA gives for everyone to pitch in and help out.
Yeah, it's a special place. I think we all recognize that, and it's a reason we all raised our hand to volunteer. There's nothing like it, and to give back, especially for the kids and shape the kids of this community, it's super important. I spent 2 hours on the phone today talking Little League. It doesn't seem to ever go away, but it's super rewarding because if I'm going to work on anything and work on anything POA, it's about the kids, so that's the most rewarding. So thank you guys for this opportunity to be up here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. We have Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce update from Board President John Grande.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, interim city manager. Excited to be working with you and getting to know you a little bit. Experiencing a little bit of synchronicity tonight. I'm sitting here in my seat and seeing that this very talented woman was honored for her role with the community theater. I thought this is going to be a great segue from when we announce our business of the month. Then lo and behold, we're also honoring JDI,
cool.
and which I had no idea that was happening because JDI is our business of the month
Double
for
bitter.
April 2024.
Very cool.
Yes,
Nice.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
You know, I for one, have not raised children here, but from what I understand, if anyone in our community was engaged in cheerleading or dance or musical theater, chances are they got their start with these folks. And coming from an artsy-fartsy family, I certainly see the value and believe in what that contributes to making us great humans and really a great community. So congratulations. A few other things. Our business roundtable, our monthly business roundtable event, which is the first Thursday of every month, 7:15 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. That's for the morning folks. Our next one will be on May 2nd. And our guest presenter will be from the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. And it's going to be a very exciting topic, new tax laws and more. But whether it's exciting or not, it is important, especially for those of us who run our own businesses. All members are welcome. If you're a non-member, you are welcome to attend as a guest. Just let us know in advance that you're coming by. And that's at the Magnolia Room, which is, of course, downstairs at the Country Club. On the 22nd of this month will be our next speed networking event. That's going to be 5:30 p.m. over in Pepe's. And that's a lot of fun. It's a lot like speed dating, but for businesses. And I think I might have announced this before, but if I haven't, I'm going to announce it again. Our Battle of the Businesses has been rescheduled. We held it at the end of September last year, and we decided we're going to hold it again there. The biggest reason for the change is that we had a lot of conflicting events the same weekend. The one thing I've discovered shortly after becoming a board member on the chamber is just about every weekend there are things going on here, which sounds great until you're trying to plan an event. And then you're always conflicting with something else. But there were just way too many things happening that particular weekend. So we moved it back to September. The good news is that gives everybody here an opportunity to put a team together and participate. And, last year we had a lot of fun with tug of war and kayak racing and jump rope and all kinds of activities. We had food trucks and a DJ, so the community is able to come down and cheer on their favorite businesses or their favorite teams. We made a few changes to our membership structure. We realized that we had, it wasn't clear what the differences were between our different membership tiers. And there were different types of benefits that had different names, but were kind of the same thing. So we decided let's clarify this and let's really just define what these are. But the two biggest changes that we've done is we created something called an affiliate membership, which I'm very excited about. One of our challenges is you get some of these larger members who, whether they're a real estate office or a hair salon, and they've got dozens of people working for them or working with them. And they never get the newsletters, they never get the notifications, they never find out about what events are going on or any of those things. So we've created the affiliate membership. So if you are working for or working with one of our members, you can be, for $50 a year, which comes to about $4 a month, You can become an affiliate member, and you will get the notifications and the emails and find out what all the events are. But more importantly, you could put your own contact information in our directory. So now if someone's looking for a real estate agent, they could actually find someone by name. And as we know, we have more than a few real estate agents here, and hair salon, hairdressers as well, other people like that, mortgage folks, who have a reputation and have the names, and maybe they don't know how to reach them. So we think this is going to offer a great value. One of the other things we'll be starting next month is our Platinum Business Membership, which is our highest level, will include what we call a business spotlight, where me or someone else from the board will be going down to that business, doing a brief video interview, give them a 60-second commercial, and post that on blast it all over our social media. So those are some of the changes that we've agreed upon and we're implemented, and we're very excited. So any questions? All right. That wasn't a question, but I love that response. So yeah, thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Moving on, we're going to do some public safety updates. City of Canyon Lake, Lake Code Enforcement. Ruby, you want to come up?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and staff. I'll be covering the month of March. So we had one permitted construction violation, one MPDS violation, 4 parked vehicles prohibited in the town center, 1 vehicle parked overnight. On BLM, we had a total of 4 motorized vehicles, 4 verbal warnings were issued. 1 AVA notice of violation was issued. Down to our business license, we had 1 violation operating without a business license. We had 1 foreclosed registration, 1 short-term rental. And down to our residential registrations, we have 333 registered. We have 311 renewed, 22 pending renewal. 1 new unregistered property was found since that has already been registered with us. 8 inspections were conducted, 5 self-certifications completed. And onto our business license, we have 2 new commercial business license registered, 5 new home occupations, 11 new out-of-city, and 11 renewals. And Councilmember Smith, I want to go back to the residential rental. Last month, you had requested that we do something, some type of outreach with the residents regarding, just educational stuff so that we can provide information on the residential rental. So I am working with our management analyst, and we're working on a flyer that we can mail out to everybody. And that will also be on our website, Instagram, Facebook. So.
Who are we mailing it to? Existing?
Everybody.
Question mark?
We're
Cool.
hoping everybody.
Okay, I like it. Y'all-
We had talked about also a kind of an info packet for realtors, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Something that they could.
Yes, that same flyer is going to go out to them, as well as a letter that I'm working on with the changes that we've made.
Yeah.
That one is going out to our current, just to let them know of the changes that are coming. And that also is going to go to our realtors. The flyer can go to all of our realtors, including Menifee, wherever we can find, because we know they manage a lot of properties here in Canyon Lake.
I think also what would be helpful, I know that we lost one, but we have another one, Director Jeff Bills in the house. So for the POA, we definitely got to get it in their hands too, because they have, they're the ones who are authorizing associate memberships. They're the ones who are allowing tenants to get POA cards. And so, they're already on their application, they're indicating, are you a renter or not? So I think giving this to them too is a good step, and maybe they could even go one next further and send it out to their list of folks.
Absolutely.
We've always had this weird conversation with the POA because we know that they probably have different intel than we do, especially because they know better how many rentals are actually in this community, and we're looking at it from a public record data point. And because of the CCNRs, we're limited on getting that data, but I think this is a way that we can bridge that gap and say, hey, this is truly about public safety. This isn't about taking over privacy. This is actually to help you as a landlord and also as a future tenant or a current tenant to be safer. So I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, if you need any help, also from us, make sure if you hit a brick wall trying to get something done, we have relationships with the POA and we can see what they can do for us. So be happy to, again, sometimes it's hard to find the right person to help you make the right decision. And if you need help, just reach out to the council and we'll go over there and see what we can do for you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Tonight we have Lieutenant Edwards.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. Got your quarterly report for you. It covers January through March of '24. So for January, we had 360 calls for service. February, we had 313. March, we had 408. And that is total file numbers. Just sort of throw that out there. For arrests, 0 in January for felonies, 3 for February, 1 for March. Misdemeanors, we had 5 in January, 2 in February, and we had 10 in March. These are our Part 1 crimes. So January of '24, no assaults, no robberies, no sex crimes, no homicides. In January, same for February, and we had 2 assaults in March of '24. Property crimes for '24 in January, we had 2 burglaries, we had 8 larcenies, 2 vehicle thefts. February, we had 0 burglaries, 4 larcenies, 1 vehicle theft, and March, we had 0 burglaries, 1 larceny, and 0 vehicle thefts. Average response time, so we'll start with the priority 2s. January, the average for a priority 2 was 22 minutes. February was 19 minutes. March was 16 minutes. Our priority 1s, January was 6 minutes. February was 7 minutes. March was 14 minutes. There is a little caveat to that. That was 3 calls for service. And one of those calls was a convoluted call. And so they didn't have accurate information in that call, and that's what was the delayed response. There was no threat to life, so just throwing that out there. Our traffic stats, so for January, we had 2 collisions, 0 fatals, which is good. We had 5 citations, 3 DUIs. February, we had 1 collision, 0 fatals. We had 6 citations, 2 DUIs. And March, we had 3 collisions, 0 fatals. We had 41 citations and 5 DUIs. So the reason that spiked is we had the OTS grant, so we actually ran a checkpoint in March. So we'll go over the stats here, but we ran it from 8 to 2. We screened 1,008 cars, 22 citations for unlicensed or suspended drivers. 2 were DUI. We had 10 vehicles that were towed. We had 1 misdemeanor arrest warrant served. And we had 1 vehicle that decided not to stop, and we pursued them. And we caught them, and they were arrested.
In what city?
It was here.
Oh, you pursued them in Canyon
the
Lake
checkpoint.
and
For the checkpoint, yep.
from 2 a.m., right?
8 to 2.
Okay, it says p.m., so I was just curious if it was
Oh, yeah, 8.
2 a.m., 2 okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was a long
I was like,
checkpoint.
that's a big one, my friend. That's a big shift.
Yep. Long time.
Thank you.
That's all we got. And then again, we have our contact information here if you have any questions or anybody needs to get a hold of us. And if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Mr. Mayor, if I may? Absolutely. Thank you, Lieutenant. Appreciate you being here. Any updates on golf cart stuff?
We had sent the report over to Mike and to Steve so that they can take a look at it. And we got the report back from County Council, but essentially what it is the long and short is the ordinance that's currently in place is not valid. Golf carts cannot cross based on the ordinance that's in place. We've made some recommendations for doing a neighborhood electric vehicle or low-speed vehicle crossing. That was given to the city, and so now you guys have it.
So essentially, it comes back to how we identify the code versus how you guys are looking at it.
Well, it's based off of the California Vehicle Code. So if you look at the Vehicle Code, you kind of go back to the December report that I did.
Mm-hmm.
It all lies in the definitions of the vehicles, right? So, and again, we can use this as an example of what prohibits a Polaris RZR from crossing Railroad Canyon. Well, it's those Vehicle Code laws, right? It doesn't fall within those. And it's the same with golf carts, modified golf carts. They don't fall within the law to cross.
So is it, just so I'm clear, is it the position that nothing that is not considered to be a golf cart, so anything 6 seat and more cannot cross. That's the
So
position?
the definition of the NEV LSV is that it has to be licensed, registered, a licensed driver, and meet federal motor vehicle safety standards.
Okay, so the predominant number of golf carts in Canyon Lake in your position are not able to cross day or night?
Yeah, so if we go back to the December report, so a golf cart, per definition of the vehicle code, is 2 seats with golf equipment. Those, for the section, cannot cross. Modified golf carts, so those are the ones that are lifted, they altered the speed, they added 4 or 6 seats. Those are actually defined as a motor vehicle, so they would need to be registered and insured. There's some nuance to that, but they cannot cross.
Did you have more on that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lieutenant, is the Sheriff's Department currently towing golf carts?
We have not, no.
Is there a municipality that you guys are contracted with where you're citing golf carts for crossing currently?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Just a comment, as we know, it's spring, the sun's out, summer's coming soon. We know that the kids start accumulating in our parks fairly soon, right after school, end of May. They start accumulating, and then they start accelerating their risky behavior, and they keep accelerating their risky behavior to, at some point, where it often ends up in illegal behavior. So as usual this time of year, I encourage you to work with the POA, we've got Jeff there, and that you cut it off before it gets started, in a sense. If you give the kids and you give the people a couple of inches, they will take a mile. So I think that early season enforcement just provides hundreds of benefits to us, so it doesn't turn into 50 kids, it's only 5. So I just want to make that, again, a critical point for the season. Let's deal with 5 kids, let's not wait till it becomes 50 kids out there.
I agree. We'll use the same approach we used last year, so just high visibility stuff in the parks and everything. So we'll stay on top of it.
Okay.
Lieutenant, I've lived here for 24 years. Why has this not been enforced with the golf carts previously? Why now?
So part of this was looking at the overall traffic issues that we had in the community, right? So this stemmed from the OTS grant, having our traffic team look at what the issues are, the issues that we had with golf carts, looking at the laws, looking at the ordinances. And so for whatever reason, and I don't know why, is that the ordinance was in place probably not properly, right? So it wasn't used for what the intended purpose of the vehicle code section was. So it's just one of those things that it's been going on because it's been going on. We've identified it as a problem, and so now we're just letting council and the city know.
I have a question about that. So is there a higher percentage of crashes with golf carts?
We've
that
had
what-
crashes with golf carts, yeah.
Well, right, but is there a higher percentage now that it's come to your attention as a problem?
Well, it became a problem with just DUI golf carts, right? So it's an overall traffic assessment, right?
But most of the golf carts do not involve, or most of the DUIs do not involve golf carts, right?
No, there's a portion that have DUI.
Right, but most. What I'm saying is that it would become something that you're now highlighting. I mean, if you're looking at the traffic pattern overall and the golf, and the cars that are involved in DUI collisions or DUI hit and runs, predominantly it's regular vehicles, right?
Yes, so let's not confuse the two. So within the community, within the gates, you guys can drive the carts. There's no issue there. The issue was crossing over Railroad Canyon. That was the issue.
But there's no crashes with golf carts crossing Railroad Canyon.
Has there been one that crashed on Railroad Canyon that was DUI? No.
Okay. Are you done with that? Because I want to ask some of the questions on the stats.
Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off.
No.
I just jumped in on you, so. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Okay. Can I ask some questions about your stats? So,
Sure.
looking at the calls for service, the total file numbers. So January, you had 360. So on average, 12 calls a day. Is that right?
Sure.
So this is total file numbers, though. That's also the self-initiated, right? So were you able to figure out what the actual calls for service from community members were?
So we've gone over this before, but our current CAD system doesn't differentiate between the two. It has to be hand sorted in a report. And so that's why it's produced as a calls for service report.
I know, but it can't be more than 12.
What do you mean?
Well, because if you are including the total file numbers, we're looking at about 12 a day. So it can't be hand sorted?
No, to go through all of the calls, so you're talking 360 per
Month.
month.
Right?
Right.
But
And
if you
then do it
looked
in
at
a
them
quarterly report.
daily, we're not looking at more than 12.
So I can tell you, based on what I see during the day, because I monitor the CAD system, and like I've said before, you're probably 75% of the calls are calls in.
Okay. 75%?
75% are people calling in for a call for service.
Okay, so that would be like 7 a day then, maybe?
You can go
Somewhere around there?
7 to 10 is probably average, yeah.
On the arrests, do you have any kind of information on what those were? Because we know what they weren't, right, from the UCR data, right? So do you
Okay.
know what the rests were, the felonies and the misdemeanors?
Do I know what they currently are based on this report? No, I can't tell you, but I can give you that information.
Okay.
So I mean, it could be anywhere from a domestic violence, could be assault with a deadly weapon, it could be anything.
And so the Part 1 crimes that are reported are just the reported crimes, correct? They're the reports when people call in or what have you. They don't necessarily end up being this exactly, correct?
Well, it could be anything. It depends on what the report actually is once it's done, right? So a stolen vehicle is a stolen vehicle that's reported in the UCR data,
Okay.
right? So those are pretty common. Thefts, the same way. So if it's a theft that comes out, we go out there, we investigate it, and confirm it's a theft and take a report, then it's statted as UCR data.
Okay. And maybe you don't know, but why did the priority 1 time double from February to March? Was there?
Like I explained earlier, that's the call that was an abnormality. And
Uh-huh.
so what it was is it was convoluted. So again, not everything is as it seems when the calls are called in. And so they had to find out where the location actually was, respond to it, and so that was the delay.
But what kind of call was it? I think that's maybe my question.
It was a 5150 call, so it was a mental health crisis.
Mm. Are onto the traffic, on the citations, when you listed the DUIs, are those also included in the totals?
DUIs are separate, so DUIs are misdemeanor arrests.
Okay, so they're not listed in the total citations?
They're separated.
Okay. That was all I had.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor. Lieutenant Edwards, I just want to say thanks for the team for the DUI stop. I know that was a lot of work, found out a lot of good information. I know that this council has pushed pretty strongly on doing that, and I understand through that process, we're learning a lot about our ordinances, and I get that. Would you agree with me, Lieutenant, that the Sheriff's Department doesn't have any interest in pulling over golf carts for the day-to-day activity?
I can tell you that what we want to do is ensure safety and
course.
compliance with the law. So if it's observed, then it will be enforced. If it's not, then it's just like anything else, right? So anybody fish here, right? You fish, you don't catch all the fish. Same thing with us. We don't catch all of the crime. So
I guess the reason for the question is just because, this city has had a great relationship with RSO for so long now, and it's never been the business of the department to go after golf carts. I know you guys aren't set up to go after golf carts. You guys aren't, towing golf carts out of municipalities. So it's difficult for me, to sit here and hear a conversation about a deputy taking the time out to pull over a golf cart. It's just tough for me to swallow that pill when there's real crime that's happening, real things that are happening. Now, obviously, you have to disagree with me, Lieutenant. I understand that. But I think the facts are that, this is something that we have to get right for this community. As you know, the ins and outs of the city. This council's committed to that. And I would hope that we can relay the message, especially because I know that our legal counsel is working at what that identifying that code truly is, so that it can be the betterment for not just this community, but for RSO too. So I would just encourage to please work with us, as I know you are, and I hope that we can continue the progress moving forward. I do know now that there's back and forth happening, but I would ask that we really take a serious stab at this and we work together as a team on this.
Yeah, so we've been going back and forth for quite some time, and like I said, so once the initial ordinance was read off, right, we took that information back to our county council, gave them all the information, and so, I mean, the law is what it is. I can't change what the law is. I don't agree with all the laws. I'm just telling you what the actual law says can cross and cannot cross, and the solutions to that, right? And that's why we made the recommendations for the neighborhood electric vehicle plan
Right.
and have them cross, right? So, and again, so part of this is for the safety of the community, is that you want to ensure that they meet federal motor vehicle safety standards, that they're wearing seatbelts and that they can withstand a collision, right? So it's just not, we're picking on golf carts, right? That's not how it works.
Yeah. Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, looks like there's no other questions, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
And thank you,
Lieutenant?
Captain, for being here tonight. Appreciate you. It's always good seeing you.
Okay, Canyon Lake Fire Department, Chief Latendress.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Staff, members of the public. Jeff Latendress, your Fire Chief, and I'm here to present our monthly statistics for the month of March. I hope. Okay, for the month of March, we had 88 emergency responses, a little bit more than we did during February, but not quite as much as we did during January. Of those responses, we had 3 fire responses, 65 medical responses, 2 hazardous material responses, 8 service calls, 9 good intent, and then 1 false alarm for a total of our 88 responses. The fires, we had our first fire on March 3rd. It was a vehicle fire in the Meadowbrook area near the intersection of Highway 74 and Peach Street. It was an engine compartment fire that we assisted CAL FIRE with. On March 16th, we had a vegetation fire again in the Meadowbrook area. It was in the area of Highway 74 and Richard Street. There were actually multiple fires at this location, and so our crews were assigned to mop up one of the many fires that was set by an unknown person that they weren't able to find. And then finally, on March 22nd, here in Canyon Lake, in the 29,000 block of Longhorn, we had a refuge fire or an illegal burn. A resident there had trimmed his palm fronds and thought it was best to go ahead and burn them in the backyard. So we provided some education to him, and hopefully we won't have that problem again in the future.
I couldn't wait for cleanup day. That's 2 weeks out, and I just couldn't wait.
It is coming soon. I hope someone will talk about that this evening, but it is coming soon. The time of our incidents, and again, we try to use this to plan our activities, and we were stymied a little bit again this month. We had a peak of calls in the morning hours that normally were quieter during the morning. So right around 8, 9 o'clock, we spiked at 7, and then 10, 11 o'clock, we spiked again up to 8 responses over the month. And typically, we see that time where we're running 2 or 3 responses. So again, we try to plan our activities at the least busy time so that we're more ready for responses. Again, this is where responses happen. 3 months in a row now, we had another incident at the fire station. So every month this year so far, we've had at least 1 incident at the fire station. So we are still trying to get that message across. Please call 911 if you need fire or medical help. And that is the quickest and most expeditious way to get us on scene. And then, again, most of our other responses are in single-family dwellings. But it's good for us to know where our incidents are occurring. If we look at the map, this is where our incident occurred throughout the month. So, again, over off of Canyon Lake Drive North, probably where we saw most of our responses this month. Our response times, we went up just a little bit in our turnout time for the average, from 49 seconds to 54 seconds, but our travel time went down from 5 minutes 19 seconds to 5 minutes 8 seconds. So we did see our overall travel time drop from 6 minutes 7 seconds to 5 minutes and 56 seconds. So that was a great month for our guys of getting out there and getting on scene as quickly and as safely as possible. What we really like to look at, though, is our fractile number, 90% of the time instead of 50% of the time, or the average. 90% of the time, our turnout time was 1 minute 23 seconds, well within our goal standards. Our travel time for the month was 6 minutes 51 seconds, so a little bit over what we want to try to be for a total response time of 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Automatic and mutual aid given during the month of March, we responded to a total of 10 incidents outside the city. 8 were in the Lake Elsinore zip code area and 2 were in Good Hope. So far this year, we have responded to 29 incidents outside the city, 2 in Menifee, 25 of those in Lake Elsinore, 2 in Menifee, and then 2 in Good Hope. This is a detailed map showing it. So again, as we say, it's the Lake Elsinore zip code. You'll see that the majority of those are in the Meadowbrook area, as we talked about those fires and where they were. And this is a map showing, so far this year, the 29 locations of where we responded outside the city to assist Riverside County CAL FIRE. Conversely, Riverside County responded into the city of Canyon Lake 6 times during the month of March. So far this year, they've responded a total of 23 times. This is a heat map showing where those incidents have occurred, and again, it's just splattered throughout the community. We do see most of them, though, typically along the area of Railroad Canyon Road. We do have one hot spot there over in the East Bay, and it's just ironic of when we're available and they have to come in and assist us on a call. Our training hours this month, we've kind of changed this up a little bit. It was a little confusing the way we were presenting it. So our total training hours of all of our personnel on duty for the entire month, we had 222.92 hours of training. Year to date, our firefighters have committed to 818 hours of training. So our goal is a minimum of 2 hours every day on average. Some days we may do 4, some days we may do none, but we're out there committed to the training. Our focus this month, we've got a new program in place for personal protective equipment. We trained all our personnel how to properly document and clean their uniforms. SCBA fit testing is an annual mandate. We did a mass casualty incident training, or MCI training, ladder rescue evolution, search and rescue. We did simulations for multifamily dwellings, personal protective clothing again, and then finally you see on the right there our firefighter survival training. We set up some props out at the fire station. We got wires and cables in there. We black out their mask, and our firefighters are training how to get out of a confined trapped area if they become lost, missing, or trapped. The picture of the engine squirting water at the lake, just we're not putting fresh water into it. We're drafting water out of the lake and then putting it right back into the lake. So that's what we're doing there. It's good to know we have that water source. If we ever have an incident where the hydrant system is down, we are able to bring water out of the lake and use it for firefighting operations. Our public education community outreach, we're very busy this month. We went out to Little League opening days and Friday night lights. We had 2 different Read Across America events at the library and the Canyon Lake Community Church. We did training for the Emergency Preparedness Committee and First Aid. We were, as it was mentioned earlier, we were there at Splash into Spring with Elsinore Municipal Valley Water District. We went to a neighborhood birthday party, and then the Girl Scouts stopped by and brought us way too many cookies so that they could get a station tour. So we're still trying to go through the cookies that they left us. Our significant incident this month, and it is kind of interesting, while it's not a big event, on March 29th, I received a phone call from Darcy Brooke. It was a Friday, and she got a call from a neighbor who saw someone washing something down the street. And so I called the fire station. We got Engine 1 and Battalion 1 out there. they found about 700 feet of dried mortar that you use for tile, that someone was cleaning buckets and it had spilled all the way out there. So what we did was we made the proper notifications. We treated it like a hazardous condition, and we had the fire department, code enforcement was out there, Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. It actually was in Eastern Municipal Water District's area, so we had them out there. We contacted Riverside County Environmental Health. We worked on a cleanup plan, and the property owner was out there, and he cleaned up the mess that he made of 700 feet long. I guess the point, while I mention this, is from an educational perspective. You know, when you're out there washing your cars, when you're cleaning working equipment, everything drains to our lake. And so we don't want those contaminants in our lake. So please do your due diligence, retain, collect that water, vacuum or suck it up, and then properly dispose of it. But we definitely want to protect our most valuable resource, which is our lake, and so that's why we're really stressing that tonight. Fire and life safety inspection. So we've been talking about it for a bit of time, but we have gone out there and we have now initiated our fire and life safety inspections of all commercial occupancies. We've got the town center identified, Eastport, all of the POA facilities, and then the other really commercial occupancy here in the city is the storage facility off of Loch Lomond. Prior to starting the program, we sent mailers out to all businesses. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce and provided education to one of their meetings. Our engine personnel received specific training on the fire code. We went out there. I've been working with the engine companies. Each company will have about 50 to 60 inspections, and that should cover about the 150 to 160 brick and mortar businesses we have out in the commercial business. So our goal is to inspect these businesses annually. So they're not all going to be done in 1 month. They're going to pace themselves as they work throughout the year. But you'll see our firefighters now out in the business community doing these fire and life safety inspections. I do want to invite everybody. It was mentioned earlier, May 11th, Saturday. It is Mother's Day weekend, but from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we will be holding our second annual open house. We invite everyone there. We'll have live demonstrations of auto extrication, vehicle extrication, ventilation, forcible entry. We'll have station tours. Sparky the fire dog will be out there. We've got some of our partners from Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, AMR, the Canyon Lake Firefighters Association, Riverside County Sheriff's Department will be out there, the Emergency Preparedness Committee, we'll have a face painter, we'll have a balloon artist, and finally, lunch will be provided by the Clams. So please join us from 10 to 1 at the fire station. We look forward to seeing you. And that concludes my report for the month of March. I'm available for any questions if you have it.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Public comment. City Clerk, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, we have one public commenter tonight, Gail Bjelland.
Good evening. My name is Gail Bjelland, and Mayor Welty and Canyon Lake City Council and staff, we are very grateful for all the hard work you do on behalf of the people of Canyon Lake. And we know you're busy, but we want to invite you to help us celebrate the good in education at an awards ceremony we are having. It's called the Crystal Apple Award, and it is given by the youth of our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it has been ongoing for the past few years. The high school students give deep thought to who they nominate to receive this award and what teacher has made a difference in their lives. And the criteria is as follows: which teacher showed dedication and excellence in teaching, which teacher is genuinely dedicated to helping her students, what teacher has helped you maintain high personal standards, which teacher has inspired you to become a better person, which teacher has had a positive effect on your life. 6 teachers have been selected this year, 2 from Elsinore High School, 2 from Lakeside High School, and 2 from Temescal Canyon High School. These awards will be presented on Sunday, April 21st at 7 p.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Lake Elsinore, located on Dexter Avenue. Please join us at 6:30 for a meet and greet with church leaders, dignitaries from the County of Riverside, the cities of Lake Elsinore, Canyon Lake, and Wildomar, as well as Lake Elsinore School Board District members, officials, and administrators. As a former retired teacher and administrator of 42 years, yeah, when I say that, it's like scary, but I find this is such a wonderful time to honor those that I loved it every minute that I served the children from Los Angeles to Murrieta to Lake Elsinore, and last as an administrator in Riverside Unified. And so it's always great to honor those people that love what they do and do what they love. You'll receive an official email invitation tomorrow with the names of the selected teachers, and we hope to see you there in support of these fine educators. Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, last year I attended this event. It is truly a great event, and it's very similar to Student of the Month, but reversed. And it is truly remarkable to see these students, and it's quite the presentation. I mean, it's more than just get up and talk about the teacher that I like. They did a tremendous presentation for each one of the teachers, and I went last year, and I look forward to going again this year.
I'll be looking forward to my email tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any more public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, we have no additional commenters.
Any public comments on consent agenda items?
Mayor, we have none.
We have none, okay. All right, let's do committee reports. Let's start with Casey.
Thank you. I just want to remind the community that the California State Parks is hosting tryouts for junior lifeguards. The camp will run from June 17th through June 28th this year. It's a 2-week program. The Clear Foundation is offering sponsorships if that is a need, but if you have not been if you have not participated last year, you do need to try out. The second tryout will actually be at Lake Paris. If you do not make the Canyon Lake one, that will be on the 11th. And since that conflicts with the fire department open house, you really need to make it to the one on the 20th. That will be from 8 a.m. to 10, and there will be a parent orientation right after that. So if you are not trying out, the tryout takes about 5 minutes. Please come at 10 for the parent orientation. And it looks like we already have about 40 bus riders, so we're very excited this year. And that's it.
Okay, Councilmember Dane.
That'll be very quick. We had another meeting of our Riverside County Higher Education Coalition last week, 2 weeks ago. Anyway, we're moving forward. We've got a lot of additional organizations and cities that have also signed resolutions, so we're making continual progress. And just wanted to put out there for if anybody is interested in participating in this committee, it's not just electeds. We've got people, we've got teachers, we've got people from teachers unions, we've got hospitals, we've got I think of all different areas, but everybody in this area who could possibly be impacted by the benefits of having a four-year university here in Riverside County, or at least a good extension of Cal State San Marcos that we're working to fundraise for. There'll be more things coming out about that, but to raise money to put in an additional floor that's going to really serve this community to be able to have four-year degrees offered in Riverside County. So if you're interested, please let me know.
Councilmember Smith.
Absolutely. I'll be quick too. Just a couple things. Real estate update for Canyon Lake. It actually dropped in the month of March by negative 0.4. So that's the first time we had a little dip compared to some of the other cities. But we're still pretty high average, anywhere between 640 to about 650 still. So it's pretty good, homes here in Canyon Lake doing well. Today we had a big day at RCTC. We honored Ann, and you guys had the opportunity of meeting Ann. She came here. She gave a presentation with Aaron, and we honored her 17 years of service at RCTC, and she is an institution for transportation. My father served on RCTC when he was council member in Hemet, and I got the chance to meet her then. So I've known her for 14 years, and it's been pretty cool to see her career at RCTC. And so I was able, as the chair of RTA, to present her with a proclamation, and it was pretty cool, and she teared up, and she's a phenomenal gal. So thank you for allowing me, council, to serve on that commission. We did have a very important vote today. The project that was brought forward to this council was Measure A funding and looking at that sales tax. So we're having discussions on that as well. Today was just an initial conversation on how we're going to take it up on the ballot. And our CTC's legal team came up with a pretty creative solution to allow for the ACR 1, which is that 55% that I know we talked about, and also the standard 66%. So we could take advantage of both for that. So anyways, just wanted to give that little update with RCTC, but a lot of big things happening throughout the county. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
WRCOG attended this month, and it was a pretty light meeting. We were out of there pretty quick, but we did get a presentation from the Regional Food Rescue Program, which is in partnership with WRCOG and 5 of its member agencies. And what they do is they aim to identify edible food waste generators, connect with food rescue organizations, and provide education and waste reduction. Progress includes outreach to businesses, social media, content creation, workshops, addressing resource gaps, survey food rescue organizations, and the implementation of formal complaint systems. Here locally, I would like to congratulate the Canyon Lake Junior Women's Club in their golf tournament that they had. I know that Councilwoman Dane and I had the opportunity to attend. They did a terrific job. And once again, when you have the opportunity to participate in a golf tournament or any of the fundraisers, please keep in mind that any money that you're putting towards these organizations goes directly back into the community and most likely to a family or a person who is in need. So I'm a big supporter of those. Today, had the opportunity to have in and out with our staff. I tell you, that was a great opportunity to really convey my thanks to them for the great efforts that they make. You know, a lot of times people look at council and say, wow, you guys are doing a really good job. And we would be going nowhere if it was not for our, I said I wouldn't call them staff anymore, didn't I? I'd call them teammates. And I think moving forward, they feel very comfortable in the direction that we are taking and are looking forward to assisting us in that direction and those goals. So, thank you.
Just a few comments. One, the summer programs are coming up, as I've said earlier. Please get your kids involved. We talked to the sheriff about the kids running in the park without a little direction and the problems they can cause. If you have a child, get him involved in the summer programs, and it'll make him far less likely to get into the parks and get into mischief. One thing that's come out is the MSJC Spring Catalog has come out for anyone, the summer catalog. It's for anyone who wants to roll in MSJC. My son is in high school. There's now bridge programs where your children can, if they're in high school and have a base level of success, they can also pick up a couple classes at MSJC. I mean, the wonderful thing about that is they don't have to drive. Those base classes are online. They can do that at home. I think we've been to the student awards where the student has graduated from high school with almost 2 years of junior college in their bucket. which is just amazing, but that opportunity is available to a lot of kids in our age. Just ask them to get involved and for the parents to realize that that can happen. We're going to continue to follow up on the Energy in California grants. That's kind of from my SCAG meetings this month. We also talk about turning in your POA ballots. Please, that helps our community significantly. They don't have to spend more money on another round of elections, and we can get some of the basic changes that they're hoping to do. Another thing, we are moving into mosquito season. One of the major causes of mosquitoes is standing water. So if you have standing water in your yard, please go out and empty it. And if you have mosquitoes, the first thing you want to do is walk around your yard and look around for standing water. That fixes probably about 40% of the mosquito problem in Canyon Lake. So we are coming into that summer zone. Alum treatment is scheduled for the week of April 22nd. If the weather behaves, it looks like it's going to. It looks like we have maybe a couple minor storms. But the funny-looking boat spraying the alum in the water is hopefully going to be April 22nd. It has done a significant job in keeping our algae blooms down and making it safe in our lake. Also on Tuesday, April 30th, the 2024 Leisure Water Summit will take place. It basically talks about the watershed. If you haven't gotten tickets, please let me know. Send me an email. I'll get you a way to get on to that training session, especially for the POA board members. I see Jeff's out there looking at his phone. I'm sure he's saying, sign me up, sign me up. We'll get you an invite, Jeff. So that's one other thing. Also, as far as the burning of the leaves, Saturday the 27th is the city trash pickup day. They'll have big bins up at the community church, Canyon Lake Community. So instead of starting extra fires, you can load your pickup up. You don't have to drive to the dump. You don't have to drive to the dump station. And historically, it's always been free. So load your pickups up with non-hazardous items, take them on up, and do that spring cleaning. That's all I have. Sometimes you have to take a breath, right? Just moving on to the consent agenda. Any of the council members would like to remove a consent agenda item, please let me know. Anybody want to remove one?
Normally I remove all of them. But tonight, it's been long, so I'll make the motion that we adopt the consent calendar as is.
Second.
City Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Moving on, we have no public hearings today. That's a good thing. Business item number 7. We are looking for a presentation from our city attorney, Stephen Graham.
Yes, Mayor and City Council. Item number 7 is to receive an oral report of a summary of compensation for an agency executive. This is the interim city manager that the City Council voted to appoint in closed session today, and approval of the employment agreement with the interim city manager, setting compensation and other terms of employment. I'm going to go through the attached agreement that's in the backup that we provided, and I will be filling in the blanks based on the negotiations between the city and the interim city manager. That will be my oral report. It will fill in the blanks on the employment agreement, and then the City Council can discuss and take possible action to approve that employment agreement. The name of the interim city manager for all the spaces where name is required is Aaron Brown. It is effective April 11th, 2024. Under term, which is section 4, it will commence on April 11th, 2024 and continue until March 31st, 2025. Under section 7.1, the initial base salary is set at $200,000 per year. This is the same as it has been for this position for the previous 2 years. Under 7.3, the performance and longevity bonus is equal to 9.9%. That is, again, equal to, this is the exact same amount that it's been in the previous 2 years for the city manager position. Under 7.4, the salary separation is 10%, so it reads 110% for that section. Again, that's unchanged from previous agreements. Employment date under section 8 is April 11th, 2024, as we discussed. The automobile allowance is unchanged from previous agreements, and it is $600 per month for the use and maintenance of the city manager's personal vehicle on city business. Section 14, unchanged, that is $150 per month to reimburse for the business use of personal devices. Under 16.1, the city manager is credited with, let me double check this, I believe it's 40 hours. Yes, 40 hours of vacation leave, again, unchanged. Under 16.3, administrative leave, this is leave that doesn't have any cash value, but can be used and essentially is this compensation for nights like tonight, where the city manager would be expected to operate outside of their normal working hours. They don't receive overtime, they don't receive any additional compensation, and it has no cash value upon separation.
Right.
So that will be 120 hours for a total of 240 hours. I believe that is all of the information that we needed to fill in the blank on the agreement. That's my oral report. Mayor, it would be appropriate to have a motion to approve the interim city manager employment agreement between the city and Aaron Brown.
So moved. Unless my colleagues have any comments.
Anyone have any comments? Still have any comments? No comments? Do we have any comment cards on this?
Mayor, we do not.
Okay.
Wait a minute, before I continue with my motion, Aaron, are you sure you want to do this?
I'm very sure, thank you.
I am seeking a second, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we have a first, we have a second. We have a second. City Clerk, can we conduct a roll call?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Moving on to number 8, we're adopting a resolution opposing Initiative 21-0042A1, presentation by our city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, real quick, we have a gentleman here, his name's Mike Borja, and he has been sitting here waiting patiently to start giving announcements on all these business items, so I think we should give him, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to do that to you.
Well, actually, I was going to say, Mayor, the city attorney has agreed to take on the presentation of the next step.
Dang it. Let me do it. Dang it, we're not going to get you off that easy, are we?
Yes, Mayor, it is the city attorney show tonight. Hopefully, that's not going to become a regular occurrence. Item number 8 is a resolution opposing Initiative 21-0042A1, the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, and joining the Stop the Taxpayer Deception Act coalition. Every few years in the state of California, the California legislature and business interests have negotiations about the cost of running the government of this state and the cost that imposes on businesses. Usually they are able to come to reasonable accommodations that meet both those needs, and the legislature takes action. Every now and then, things break down and we end up with stuff like this, which is a ballot initiative that's a constitutional amendment that is going to make several fundamental changes to the way that local government funds itself. In particular, it's going to dramatically change how fees need to be calculated. Actual cost will no longer mean the actual cost, what it actually costs us to do it. It means the theoretical minimum amount necessary to provide that service. So, for example, when you're looking at something like the city's EMS response fee, when you're talking about the actual cost, which is, having a fire department that has firefighter paramedics that arrive on an engine, we calculate those things when we're looking at, the service that is being provided by the city. You are going to invite taxpayer lawsuits saying that no. You could theoretically provide that service for a much lower cost if you did all these other things. And what that does is it takes out that balancing act when you're talking about the quality of services and items like that. There are many other changes that restrict the ability of local voters to engage in initiatives to raise revenue for their local government, where you have citizens who want changes in additional services, or they want to restrict revenue. so that it can only be used for certain services. This reduces the ability of the electorate to do that. So it is a very comprehensive, it is as earth-shaking to local revenue as Prop 218 was. And so you have before you a resolution where the city would be joining other local agencies and other interested groups to essentially educate the public on the devastating effect that this initiative, if it's passed, would have on the services that people are expecting.
Thank you. Any comments from the council? Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I think I ask, we have a bunch of cities around us that signed on to this already, right? I think it was a list of, what was it, 4 or 5 that you and I kind of reviewed. So I think Menifee was on that list. I think Temecula, a few others. So this is pretty simple. I mean, for me, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Attorney, but this definitely takes the ability to have local control out.
Yes, and, I think most concerning, previous measures like Prop 218, the Right to Vote on Taxes Act, really empowered local voters to have a say in how revenues are raised. This will take away a lot of that ability. So, for example, it means that local voters would no longer be able to pass a new tax unless it has a sunset that's 5 years in the future. It would prohibit the local electorate from doing advisory measures.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was very common for the local voters to pass measures that say, City Council, we'd like you to spend this revenue for this purpose. So it would take away the ability to engage in that sort of activity. I think that it is a very different category of ballot initiatives from what we've seen in this state in the past.
I guess my comment is that the funding sources to the city are under threat all the time. And I feel we run a lean ship here, and we try to provide services that are really good cost to our residents. And every time we turn around, somebody reads a piece of language that says, "Oh, you can't charge for that, or you can't tax for that," and too much of our energy is spent trying to defend our ability to provide these level of services. And it makes it very difficult for us to run business as it is. I think if it gets worse, it'll be nearly impossible without the basic revolt of the people to make the Canyon Lake even stand the way it is now. So it's very, very threatening to me. The other side, there's a lot of 2/3 voting going on. And normally in a democracy, you come in, you say 50% of the people, or more than 50% want something. In a democracy, that's the way it normally works. But in this case, they bumped a lot of those up to 2/3. So if a third of the people don't want a benefit, then they can control that. That seems to be a little stretch for me.
I have a comment. So, as a taxpayer, I completely understand why this may be brought forward, simply because as a small business owner also, it's very hard to run a business when you're constantly ending up having to pay Sacramento for high-speed trains and stuff that I don't want to pay for. My concern as it relates to this is, I agree with Dale, we do run super lean, and I think we always are very conservative. So it's almost like this will punish Canyon Lake specifically because we didn't tax, and build up a bunch of reserves. We don't have the surplus that everyone else has because we were trying to really just give high-quality services at the bare minimum. And when I think about quality of life issues, and I think about code enforcement, we have amazing code enforcement people who make sure we don't have a homeless count and that there's no, homeless encampment in the BLM. And I don't want to cut services because we're doing this hypothetical, it could be maybe done at a cheaper rate. I also don't want to rely on the county, because if we can't pay for it, then we're now having to hope that someone else could come in and do that for us, and I don't think that would happen. I honestly don't think we would even be on the list of a area that's going to be at the top of anyone's list for help, because we look like we're doing well. My position is neutral because I hate taxes and I understand the reason for oversight. I do. And because I think California kind of is that runaway high-speed rail train. So I have a really hard time supporting this as an opposition, but I also don't want to retro back to 2022 where we really set our EMS very low and now think that that may be something we're going to have to revisit when we're looking at it again in June. So I'm struggling with this from our perspective.
The biggest issue that I have with this, and there's a couple of them. The pressure and the autonomy that we have, what little we have already as local government, is taken away with this. And I think some of the areas are so not really explained in how you come up with this should be sort of a low number, doesn't put a lot of confidence in that the state will come up with that right number for us. So I support this very much.
Mr. City Attorney, can we define minimum amount necessary?
If by we, you mean my colleagues in the legal profession?
Yes.
We will spend the next 15 years defining it for cities.
So this is also,
Subject to a significant amount of litigation. I'm sorry, I wasn't on. It's going to be subject to litigation for the foreseeable future. You know, I was referencing Prop 218 earlier, Mayor Pro Tem. Prop 218 was passed in 1996. We are still litigating what Prop 218 means to this day, including this city is in litigation regarding Prop 218. So if this comes forward, I anticipate that it will result in significant litigation about what does minimum amount necessary mean. And I think it'll lead to a lot of uncertainty for cities as you are adopting fees. I'm not even talking about taxes. I'm talking about just regular old user fees. I think it'll be very challenging.
so we recently purchased a firehouse. I believe that it was often mentioned that we were looking at what market value was. How does it change when it becomes reasonable?
I don't know the answer to that question, and that's part of the uncertainty that we're facing here. Just to give you another example, Mayor Pro Tem, maybe moving away from fire, looking at trash collection.
Yes.
We would face the same issue there. You could have a city who looks at how much it costs to take care of the trash and the way that the city expects, and you can find yourself subject to a lawsuit where someone comes forward and says, well, you could do it this other way and get it done slightly cheaper, right? And so even though that is maybe not what the city is expecting in terms of the level of service, one of the things that we demanded, for example, from our franchise haulers is that they use newer vehicles so that they're not dripping lubricant and oil on the city streets of Canyon Lake. That was something that was a good thing for the community. But the truth is, a leaky garbage truck gets the job done just fine, right?
Very reasonable.
So that's the kind of conversations that you may have.
Clear and convincing evidence. How does that be? I mean, how are we going to, and you understand where I'm headed with this.
Sure.
The language that is being brought up.
I argue about what clear and convincing evidence means on a daily basis.
I know Mike and I had a conversation about this, and really we just couldn't come up with an explanation to any of these new terms. And these new terms are mentioned in this, is that correct?
That's correct.
What I read is it puts the burden of proof onto the cities to justify everything they do.
And not just the burden of proof, a high burden of proof. Clear and convincing evidence is a higher standard of proof than the typical, what we would call preponderance of the evidence standard. So without getting too legalistic on you, what it means is not only is the burden on the city, but it's a high burden that's on the city.
So we've gone from reasonable to actual, we've gone to the basic legal standards to legal high standards.
That's correct. And I think when you're talking about something like, the reasonable cost of providing the service, you'll see that courts give a lot of deference to the city council. They say, well, you are the elected representatives of the people of your city. You have weighed all of the competing factors and you've determined a reasonable way to provide that service for your community. It's going to result in, like I said, a lot of second guessing. Could you have done it differently? Could you have done it cheaper?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Attorney, but I think, for me, and if there's no more comments, I'll call for the question on this one, because it's just like what we did with our business licensing fee, right? We went through that entire thing together as a council. The community came back pretty substantially on what our fee should be for someone who's going to have a party at a house or whatnot. We as a council were able to be, in my mind, very transparent and look at that fee and come up with something that makes sense. And I know most of you up here had conversations with stakeholders in the community, and they were very appreciative that we did that. You know me, guys, I'm an anti-Sacramento guy, so for me, this is easy. I'm sick of this argument of taking away local control from municipalities. So I'll make the motion unless there's other comments or I don't have a second.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments from the community?
Mayor, we do not.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
On the basis of local control, I will vote aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
I too believe in local control, yes.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item 9. We're going to have an introduction, first reading of ordinance number 246. Again, we're going back to our city attorney. Stephen, it's going to be quite your night tonight.
I know. I'm enjoying it. So item number 9, this is, as you said, ordinance number 246 and resolution number 2024-13. These are operational revisions to the city's commercial cannabis business ordinance. As stated in the staff report, the city enacted ordinance 2015 in 2021, which established a comprehensive commercial cannabis business regulatory structure. It imposed significant operational constraints on the operation of these businesses. For example, extremely limited business hours of only 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm not aware of the city regulating the business hours of any other business that operates in this jurisdiction. Requiring 2 armed security guards to be on duty at all times. Again, not aware of any other business where we have a similar requirement. And there was some language that our one operator felt was ambiguous. We looked at it. We agreed we could clarify it. But essentially, language regarding their ability to put up signage. We wanted to clarify that those limitations are only, they only apply within the corporate boundaries of the city of Canyon Lake. We don't have the ability to pass ordinances that regulate the behavior in our neighboring jurisdictions. If they want to regulate, if they want to make changes to their sign code, they're welcome to it. So those are the 3 main regulatory changes that came up. This came about through continuing dialogue we have with the city's first and currently sole operator, Culture, which is right next to City Hall. We wanted to have those strict regulations in place and have only one operator at the very beginning of this process because the city was uncertain whether we were going to be creating a public nuisance in our town center or a good business partner for the others in the town center. I can tell you that in talking with city staff, we have had no significant incidents at all at this business. The other change that is being recommended is the authorization for a second permit. The city went through a very comprehensive evaluation and ranking process in 2022 that resulted in culture being ranked the highest. At a very close second was the syndicate. So looking at the operation of culture, looking at the fact that we do not have a parking lot overrun with traffic, we do not have any of their nuisances that we're worried, and in the sort of thought that a competition is a good thing, the recommendation is to allow for that second permit under the terms of the application and evaluation process. That would be handled by the city manager, and it would be offered to the syndicate. If there's any other questions that the council has, happy to answer them at this time.
Any questions from council? My only comment is I think we went into the unknown when we approved our first one. I think we have not seen a significant destructive behavior. I think we see bad behavior in other parts of the town and even the town center, but I haven't seen it there. I know we've been keeping a careful eye on it to see if there was any sort of significantly negative impact, and I just haven't seen it.
It was pretty easy to keep an eye on them, and their businesses in between two city buildings. So yes, Mayor, we've been keeping an eye on them. And we have no expectation that the syndicate would be any different. They operate in numerous locations throughout this area and are highly regarded, and we're highly evaluated.
Have any comment cards?
Mayor, we do not.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty? Motion
Aye.
passes.
Moving on, item number 10. Guess who gets to present this one? Introduction of first reading of ordinance number 247. Presentation by City Attorney Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. We are on item number 10. This is a introduction of ordinance number 247. These are revisions to the city's procurement process. We did a review and a revision, I want to say about 4 years ago. And since that time, things have gone relatively smoothly. There's been significant changes that occurred during COVID, primarily related to inflation. So, some of the numbers that perhaps made sense 4 years ago lead to some pretty tough constraints now. But the real motivating factor for this adoption is to also adopt the Uniform Public Cost Construction Accounting Act. So essentially what this is going to do is going to allow for streamlined and simplified bidding procedures for public works contracts under $200,000 or less. The city staff feels that this is important as the city gears up to tackle a few public works projects here in the city. The city council, the city hall renovation project being forefront on our minds. It used to be a $150,000 public works contract was a relatively big project. But with the cost of labor, the cost of materials in the state of California at this point, it's actually a relatively small project. It's difficult to get a significant number of bidders to participate in the more formal bidding process, which has pretty significant upfront costs for them to participate with no certainty that there's going to be any business at the end of that. Whereas we can go through the simplified bidding process for projects under $200,000 or more. Frankly, I think we probably wish we had this when we were dealing with the fire station.
Yeah.
I know the fire chief probably wishes we had this put in place. But he got to go through the old system, and we're hoping to implement the more streamlined system. This is being used by almost every public agency in Riverside County. The only reason we haven't really gotten to it is because, as a smaller city, we haven't had big projects like this come up. And after the experience with the fire station, it became readily apparent that we needed to get this in place.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I just want to say thank you. Appreciate you bringing this one forward. I'm happy that we get a vote on this tonight. Good job. Seriously, very good job.
Any questions for the council?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any public comment?
I'll just make a quick comment, and that's I know everybody feels like the government has red tape and that we impose this huge amount of red tape on our citizenry and how bad we are. I can tell you, sitting here, the amount of red tape that is imposed on the city by the state is 5 times what it is for most residents when they come in, and this act of streamlining is so valuable and important to me. So I just want to say thank you, Stephen, for bringing it ahead. No comments from the public?
Mayor, no comments.
No other comments from the chamber, the council? Let's go ahead.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Smith, and I'm sorry, a second from Councilmember Castillo. Thank you. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry? Aye. Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Motion passes.
We're all done with the basic work. Our next one's city manager comments, but I think we could go into, I'm going to comment on the city manager and like to thank Mike for your period in acting. Totally went to sleep every night feeling good. I didn't call the office every morning at 8 o'clock and say, it's 8:05, what's going on? Had a lot of faith in you.
9 o'clock.
Had a lot of faith in you and just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and I too want to thank City Council for entrusting me to as well to take on the responsibility for the last month. Also to a lot of support to our staff too. Their help with everything that we've kind of done in this last month has been great. So I want to personally thank our chief and our city clerk Cheryl for their support too in this past month. So thank you.
Great job.
Good job, Mike. Appreciate you.
Okay, that
all I
was
have.
brief, thank you. We're going to announce that our next regular city council meeting will be held on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, before you close
Sure.
us out, since you said announcement, I failed to mention National Day of Prayer, which is going to be May 3rd. It's going to be at the Lodge. Please come. It's going to be, I believe, 10 a.m. We will have more details out, but please come. I think even Chad Bianco's showing up, so should be a really good day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, closing at, I have to check the time, 8:26, thank you.